Okay, welcome. So, so in this lecture, we'll be discussing some inference techniques. So, so we'll be starting with a simple inference procedure, which is called as model checking. So let us try to understand what is model checking. So basically, this is a method for inference. So here, our goal is to decide whether KB entails alpha for some sentence or not. For example, let us take this sentence, that is not P1 comma 2 is entailed by KB. Okay, is not P1 comma 2 is entailed by KB. Entailed by means basically it means that does KB entails not. So basically we are asking does KB entails not P1 comma 2. Okay, so not P1 comma 2 represents there is no P in 1 comma 2. Right. Now how to infer this using model checking, that's what we are going to understand. So basically model checking is a direct implementation of entailment. It enumerates all the possible models. Enumerate means it just lists down all the possible models for the given set of symbols, and then it checks that whether alpha is true in every model in which KB is true or not. So that is what this algorithm does, this model checking algorithm. So this is the key point. It enumerates all the possible models for the given symbols, and then it checks whether alpha is true in every model in which KB is true or not. Right? Let us try to understand this with an example. So connected to this particular statement, now we want to find whether not P1 comma 2 is entailed by KB or not. So let us take this symbols alone. Assume that relevant to this not P1 comma 2. These are the relevant symbols. What are they? B1 comma 1, B2 comma 1, P1 comma 1, P1 comma 2, P2 comma 1, P2 comma 2, and P3 comma 1. Okay. So these are the relevant symbols. So there are 7 symbols are here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So with 7 symbols, we have this many possible enumerations or model, 2 to the power 7, that is 128 possible models are there. Right? So these are the basic rules. First we know that there is no PT in 1 comma 1 because the agent is starting from here. This is the first rule. And now if there is a breeze in 1 comma 1, then it means that there is PT in 1 comma 2 or 2 comma 1. This is second rule. And this is third rule. If there is breeze in 2 comma 1, then it means that there is split either in 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2 or 3 comma 1. Okay. So you may ask and and this is the next rule, rule 4. Here we are saying that there is no breeze in 1 comma 1 because agent initially starts with 1 comma 1 and we know that there is no breeze here. So there is no breeze in 1 comma 1, and the next rule is there is breeze in 2 comma 1, which means there is splitting either 3 comma 1 or 2 comma 2. Okay, 2 comma 2 or even 1 comma 1. Right? Now here, so these are the relevant rules for this condition. Which condition? Not P 1 comma 2. There is no PT in 1 comma 2. So now we cannot directly take 1 comma 2 because based on 1 comma 2 only we are going to prove. So we are not taking that. Okay, so these are the rules relevant to that. So with these rules, what are the symbols are there? So they are B11, B12, P11, P12, P21, okay, P12, P22 and P31. Right? So these are the symbols. So totally we have 7 symbols. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This P11 is repeating 2 times, right? So totally 7 symbols. So that is how here we got these 7 symbols. So these are the relevant rules. Now with 7 symbols, there are this many combinations are possible. 2 to the power 7, 128 possible models or 128 possible combinations or 127 possible models are there. So that is what is represented here. So these are the different, our rule contains these symbols B11, B21, P11, P12, P21, P22 and P31. And also we are listing the rule. So rule 1 just says that there is no PT in 1, 1. Okay. So rule 2 says that if there is breeze in 1, 1, then what is that? So all the rules we are listing down. Now for all these things, I mean up to here you can set some values. Initially everything you can keep 0, then this you can make true, then so basically this is 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1, that model. So like that all the possible values you here you can apply. So that is what that 128 combinations you will get. Now for each of these 128 combination, identify what is R1. So R1 means we have to apply to this rule. Similarly identify R2 by applying to this rule. Identify R3 by applying to this rule. Identify R4 and R5, so on and so forth. Okay. And also check what is in KB. So KB, you know what is KB? KB is our original, that in Olympus solved problem we have discussed. So the KB knowledge base, so in the knowledge base, what is the, which state is, uh, I mean, if what you call, if this is particular, if this combinations of entry is there, then what will be in the knowledge base? Okay, that we know. Or for example, even you consider the, so basically this is a reduced Olympus world problem. This is not the original Olympus world with what you call, with the Olympus. This is a reduced Olympus world problem with pits only. So in the reduced Olympus world problem we have KB, we have reduced KB with only 3 states. So only in 3 states it will be true. In all the rest of the states it will be false. So which are those 3 states that we can identify? So in that 3 states is B 1, 1, is there is a breeze in 1, 1 or not? If P2, so what is the value? So based on those state we can, I mean based on the features of that state we can identify. Okay. So basically these are the only 3 states in which KB is true out of these 128 states, right? And wherever KB is true, the beauty is wherever KB is true, right? See, only in one place KB is true. Sorry, only in these 3 states the KB is true, and in all these places P1, 2 is false, which means not P1, 2 is true. Which means what? Not P1, 2 is true. So which means what? KB entails not P1, 2, or not P1, 2 is entailed by KB. So that is what we are trying to prove. We are trying to prove is not P1, 2 is entailed by KB or not. For that you have to create this type of truth table and you have to find out. Right? Now let us take another sentence, whether not P2, 2 is entailed by KB or not. Okay. So again KB is true only for these 3 cases. Right? KB is true only for these 3 cases. And what about not P2, 2 for these 3 cases? So P2, 2 is false only for this case. So not P2, 2 is true for this case. For the remaining 2 cases, P2, 2 is true. So it means not P2, 2 is false. Right? But what does entailment says? Wherever KB is true, wherever KB is true, then alpha should also be true. In our case, this is alpha. P2, 2 is alpha. But P2, 2 is, I mean, it is not even P, not P2, 2. Not P2, 2 is true only for this case. For these 2 cases, not P2, 2 is false. Hence, not P2, 2 is not entailed by KB. Okay? Or KB does not entail not P2, 2. KB does not entails not P2, 2. but KB entails not P1 comma 2, right? So basically this is how the concept of model checking works. So whatever the statement you want to prove, you have to identify the relevant symbols and the relevant rules, and with that you have to form a big truth table. So which is called as enumeration, and then by searching on the enumeration you have to find out whether something can be inferred or not. Right? So this particular algorithm, this model checking algorithm, it is sound and also it is complete. And the time complexity of this algorithm is order of 2 to the power n. And the space complexity of this algorithm is order of n. Right? So this is the, so its worst case complexity is actually exponential to the size of the input. So this algorithm is sound and complete, that's fine, but the drawback of this algorithm is to infer one small information, you have to identify this big table. You have to identify this big table. Only then you can infer this small information also. So and its time complexity is also exponentially high, as n here n represents number of symbols. As n increases, the time complexity also increases drastically. So these are the drawback of this model. So now we are looking for other methods of inferring. So we are looking for a technique called inference by proof, like how mathematical theorems we are proving. Similarly, a new fact can be inferred by theorem. So when by proving certain theorem. So why we are doing that? Because by doing that, what happens means we need not our time complexity will be reduced. Basically, that is, we need not maintain such big tables, and then we need not infer. Rather, with little information itself, we can infer. So that can be achieved by using proofs, inference and proofs. So that's what we are going to discuss now. So before getting into that actual topic, we'll discuss some rules. So the first rule and the important rule that we'll be discussing is called as modus ponens. This rule is called as modus ponens, and this rule is given like this: if alpha implies beta, and if alpha is given, then it means that beta is true. Okay, so there is a statement which says that alpha implies beta, and if alpha is given means if alpha is true, then it means that beta is also true. Right? So here is an example. If Wumpus ahead, if Wumpus ahead and Wumpus alive, then it implies shoot. If Wumpus is ahead of you and Wumpus is alive, which then it implies you have to shoot the Wumpus. Okay. Now, if Wumpus ahead is given, now if Wumpus ahead and Wumpus alive is given, okay, that is, if alpha is given, then beta can be inferred. That is what this modus ponens says. If there is a rule that says that alpha implies beta, and if alpha is given or if alpha is true, then automatically we can infer beta. Right? So assume it is given like this: if Wumpus ahead and Wumpus alive, which implies shoot. Okay, this is a rule. This is similar to, so here this part is alpha. Wumpus ahead and Wumpus alive is alpha, and this implies, after implies whatever you have is beta. The shoot, that is beta. Okay. Now assume that alpha is given. That is, Wumpus ahead and Wumpus alive is given. Then it means that you have to shoot. Shooting is inferred automatically. Right? So this rule is called as modus ponens. This is a very important rule. You should remember this. Similarly, there is another rule which is called as AND elimination. AND elimination. Basically, this is used to remove the AND symbol. So, for example, here alpha and beta, which means alpha is true and also beta is true. So alpha and beta, that is what alpha and beta. Now, when you eliminate the AND, that is, both are true anyway. So you take any one, either you take alpha or beta. Okay, here we are taking alpha. So alpha, what do you call? By AND elimination, alpha and beta just becomes alpha. or it just becomes beta. Okay. And so if you consider the truth values, that is the truth table of alpha and beta, okay, then you can show that mod exponents and elimination are sound proving techniques. Okay. So what is AND elimination? This is AND elimination. Here alpha and beta means from this you can either infer alpha or beta, right? So that uh, because this alpha and beta were separated by AND, which means both are true, so you can ignore any one. So that is called as AND elimination. And next we have some other rule which is called as biconditional elimination. So this is to eliminate the bicondition. So so here this is alpha biconditional beta, which means what? Which means alpha implies beta and beta implies alpha. Now if you remove this bicondition, at the top you will have this thing. Alpha implies beta and beta implies alpha. And at the bottom you will have alpha. So this is just the meaning, okay? This is not bottom or top, this is just the meaning. Alpha implies beta and beta implies alpha means alpha is bidirectionally connected to beta. Similarly, alpha is bidirectionally connected to beta means this is also true. Alpha implies beta and beta implies alpha. Right? Okay. So, uh, yeah. So here are some of the inference rules. So the first rule is as usual, which we know. So first 5 rules already we have discussed. It's the same thing. Okay, it's the same thing. So the first rule says that there is no pit in 1, 1. Second rule says if there is breeze in 1, 1, then what's the meaning? And third row says if there is breeze in 2, 1, then what is the meaning? Okay. And fourth row says there is no breeze in 1, 1. So this is already ruled out. And fifth rule says there is a breeze in 2, 1. Okay. Fifth rule says there is breeze in 2, 1. So there is breeze. Now what should we do? Now there may be chance for so there is breeze in I mean so this the agent when he moves to the cell 2, 1, the agent knows that there is breeze in 2, 1, right? So because of that this rule is added. There is breeze in 2, 1. Now let us assume these are the basic rules. Now from this basic rule let us see how we can infer other rules. Okay, how we can infer other rules and also how we can prove that p1 comma what is that? There is no pit in p1 comma 2 and also at the end we will be proving that there is no pit in 1 comma 2. So by using inference techniques, right? Okay, so first what we are going to do in the sense we are going to take this particular rule. Okay, and we are going to eliminate the bidirectional symbol. Okay, so yeah, not this one, that the first one. We are going to take this rule, okay, and we are first going to eliminate the bidirectional symbol. So when you eliminate the bidirectional symbol, what will you get? You will get b1 comma 1 implies p1 comma 2 or 2 comma 1 and p1 comma 2 or 2 comma 1 implies b1 comma 1, right? So now we have eliminated the so this is implication elimination, bidirectional elimination. So by bidirectional we have eliminated. Now once again on this we are applying AND elimination. This is one part of AND, this is another part of AND. So anything can be eliminated. Either this you can eliminate or this you can eliminate. So in our case we are eliminating this and we are keeping this. Okay. So yeah. So any one can be eliminated. So what we are doing, we are keeping this and we are eliminating this. Okay, so it is this side p1 comma 2 or 2 comma 1 equal to b. I mean it implies b1 comma 1. Right? Now you know that alpha implies beta. Alpha implies beta can also be written as not beta implies not alpha. It can be written as not beta implies not alpha. Okay. Now, so now apply that rule here. So this is alpha, this is beta. This can be converted to not beta implies alpha. So this b11 becomes not b11, and it implements not of p1 comma 2 and or 2 comma 1. Okay. So now we can apply modus ponens. Now to the rule 8 we can apply modus ponens, because uh, so what is modus ponens? If alpha implies beta and if alpha is given, then we can infer beta. So here we apply modus ponens to rule 8. Okay, so when you apply modus ponens on rule 8, we know that b11 not b11 is true. That is, there is no breeze in 1 comma 1, which means which implies not beta of 1 comma 2 or 2 comma 1. So now this is alpha. Okay, now this is alpha and this is beta. So alpha is given, alpha is already given, it is already, its proving is done. So now you can infer beta. What is beta? Not p1 comma 2 comma 2 comma 1. That's how we got this. Now here this negation is outside the bracket. Now if you bring this inside by applying De Morgan's rule, then this will become not p1 comma 2 and instead of r it becomes r and not p2 comma 1. So now you can see that we have proved that there is no pit in 1 comma 2 and also there is no pit in 2 comma 1. Our question is to find what? Our question is to find, is there a pit in 1 comma 2? Okay, what is the question? Our question is to find whether there is a pit in 1 comma 2 or not. Right? That is entailed by KB or not? Does KB entails P1 comma 2 or not? Right? So now we have proved that there is no pit in P1 comma 2 or 2 comma 1. So this is called as inference. Here, I mean, this is called as inference by theorem proving, or inference by proving certain rules, right? Okay. So basically this technique, its time complexity is less, whereas in case of the normal technique which we are doing, which we did previously, the model checking, it has a very high time complexity, and also it need to maintain huge truth tables to understand the values, right? But here all these are not required. Fine. So this proof, whatever we have discussed in the previous lecture, that is p1 comma 2 or t comma 1 is not a I mean there is no pit in 1 comma 2 or 2 comma 1. Now let us continue with our discussion, inference and proofs. So far what we have did, we found this proof by hand. Okay, but instead we have found the proof by hand, but instead we can also apply this proof to any of the search algorithms which we discussed previously, like uninformed search, informed search, heuristic search, all those things. So we can apply any of these search algorithm to find a sequence of steps that constitutes a proof, right? So we need to specify the definition of the problem. So the definition of the problem involves initial state, actions, results and goal. Okay. So here initial state represents the initial knowledge base, action represents the set of action the user can perform, and the result is the result of an action which is added. So it's basically the result of an action. It is added the sentence in the bottom half of the inference rule. Okay. So any formula we have to formulate. So like this, this inference by proof also should be formulated. What is its initial cost, action, result, and goal? Right? The goal is a state that contains the sentence we are trying to prove. So, so basically, uh, the when you specify an inference uh, problem as a problem statement, it should have all these things, right? Okay. And there is one more property of logical system, which is called as monotonicity. So what is monotonicity? It says that a set of entitled sentences. So this property of monotonicity, it says that a set of entitled sentences can only increase as information ordered to the knowledge base. So it will never decrease, right? So for example, if KB entails alpha, then KB and beta also will entail alpha. Okay? Because this beta, where it is coming? It is coming from alpha only. So whatever in KB, right? So basically the concept of monotonicity says that as the sentences increases, as the sentences increases, okay, the the increased sentences will be surely entitled by alpha. Okay, so KB entails alpha means if there are new what do you call, if there are new sentences were added, so then KB increases, KB and beta it becomes. Now that will also be entailed by alpha. There is no doubt in that. Okay, so that's what this says. Right? A set of entitled sentences can only increase as the information ordered to the knowledge base. It will never decrease. That's what it says. Okay, so if KB entails alpha, it also means that KB and beta also entails alpha. Because this beta itself is coming from the domain of alpha, so obviously it will entail, right?